right, welcome guys to another episode of Realtor Hacks, Tips and Tricks. I'm one of your hosts, Halle McGrath, two-time Icon agent with eXp Realty, team lead of Empower Real Estate Group, and I'm in San Angelo, Texas part-time and Dallas, Texas part-time. Super excited for our episode today. My other co-host is on, Casey Stiers, the downtown guru of Raleigh, North Carolina. She rules the roost there and also works a lot of the coast of North Carolina as well. And today we have a very special guest on, Bobbie McGrath of Successful Staging. I'm super excited about this episode. I've heard nothing but amazing things about your work. And she does live in the... Yeah. Sorry.
She's the best. I'm cutting you off, Halle, on this
yes.
one. Okay. I'm excited to have her on here. Every time she speaks, I learn something new. And just so people know, I have two houses, not one, but two that I met her, a month ago? Yeah, like a month ago. And she's already sold two houses that was sitting on the market for 70 plus days.
Yes, we love that.
One of which was in Atlanta, Georgia, and the other one was at the Silent Retreat. But I used her stuff that she taught me. And she actually takes time and explains the reasons why she's doing things. So
I love it.
You'll know going forward different things you can tweak and stuff.
Perfect.
So if you're a listing agent or thinking you're wanting to be a listing agent and you miss this call, I guess that's on you. So
doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, Halle and I will just be selling everything.
Yes, I love it. Well, welcome, Bobbie. Thank you for coming on. We'd love to hear a little background on your story. Where you're from, what got you into staging. Can you give us a little bit of that background?
Sure, absolutely. And first of all, thank you, both of you, for inviting me to come along. And there's our sweet fur baby there. Smile on four legs,
we
right?
love our Rocky.
Smile on four legs. Well, I have been in business. I'm in my 20th year now. And so when I started my business, I had actually been involved in a lot of different things through the years. I was handled settlement negotiations for an insurance company. I actually worked in the fashion industry where I was doing auctioneering of women's business clothes. Ooh, interesting, right?
Yes.
And worked in the fashion industry for a bit. And so I did all of those things. And then once I had children, I stayed home to raise my kids, which I thought I would never do. And I did. And I'm glad I did. But I also went a little brain dead during that time because I needed some contact with people. So I started doing sales, in-home type sales of jewelry. And I just did it for the jewelry, turned into the top recruiter for the entire state of California at that time, just because I had so much fun, right? Yeah. And so time moved forward, and eventually I started again when my boys went to school, just part-time, so I could work mommy hours as a what do you call it? Can't think of it. When you walk into receptionist.
Okay.
Yeah, for a mortgage company. And I already knew that I liked the real estate world, but we had sold a house or tried to sell a house in Florida and had some issues. And the agents there they didn't call her a stager, but they sent me this person in, and she was mean. She was ugly. The way that she said it. Casey, I don't know if I told you this story. When she left, I cried. I'm not a crier. I'm not a crier. I sat on the sofa and cried. I thought, how am I going to do this all by myself? And so, but a seed was planted. And so I went ahead and I worked part-time while my boys were at school. And then I was working as a marketing director for a mortgage company. And I just realized I wasn't home for my kids. They were only going to be around for about 3 more years. So I thought, let me try this. And all I wanted to do was start off by making $1,000 a month just for some mad money, right? It just took off. Because I put myself in the feet of the home seller because of that horrible situation that I had, but also because of my work with the mortgage company as marketing director. I knew the heck that agents went through for their listings. And I thought, I want to be the cure to that. So anyway, I did both sides of the business. I call it vacants. That's where you bring the furniture and accessories in, as well as the occupied side, which I now specialize in. That's my baby. But so on that, and I did that both sides for 10 years. And at year 10, I said, I want to own this lane, the occupied side. So I've been doing that ever since. Over 9,000 homes, hundreds of agents. And
goodness.
I'm in my 20th year. So
wow.
Well, I train stagers and I train agents too. And
Okay.
I've even taught in Australia, the UK, South Africa, Canada, and here. So I love it.
That is insane. What an insane career. I mean, just, all the things that culminated to help you. I feel
Mhm.
like all your different careers before match so perfectly for staging. So that's one thought I have. The second thought is it's so funny how there's so many I guess how people get steered into their careers. There's so many people that I hear, you know, they're motivated and inspired to start this career because they had a bad experience themselves and they don't want that for another
Mhm.
person and know that they can provide a better experience. So good for you for, channeling that,
Yeah.
I guess, like negative emotion and having that push you to help other people ultimately and give them a better experience and feeling. I mean, that resonates with people more than anything. It kind of reminds me
Mhm.
of that. I think it's Maya Angelou quote where it's like, people don't always remember what you say, but they remember the way you made them feel.
That's right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
I
love
quote
that.
her often, that very, very quote. And
Yes.
I look at everything as if someone's got a problem, I need to be the solution. And
Yes.
so it's all that. But yeah, I love Maya Angelou. She's got a lot of good ones.
Yes, I always love her too. I went to Wake Forest University, and
Mhm.
she was there teaching for a time. So we've even got a building dedicated to her now. That was, I think, the year
Nice.
after I left. But yeah, she's just
Nice.
had a little influence on me for
Hmm.
years now. It seems like. So I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, now I want to hear more, if you can. So you started out, I guess, doing vacant and occupied. Can you kind of back up
Hmm.
on your journey and
Sure.
go into those differences, I guess.
Okay, so when I started, there really wasn't a lot of training for stagers out there. In fact, a lot of
Right.
people didn't even know what the term meant.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first year, I was what I call a gypsy stager. I just kind of made it up as I went using my negotiation background, my marketing background, my visual production
Right.
background, all of those things. And I just thought, what would make sense? And I always knew from day one, it's the photos. It's the photos that matter because the stronger the photos, the more people will get through the front door. So
Mhm.
I did that and I was in business about a year and I was trying different things and I was getting some success. And I called every agent, asked them, what could I have done better? What did you like? What did you not like? I was constantly finding out that information. So at the end of the year, I remember I thought, I'm going to see if there's some kind of training. I want to bring more to the table for my clients. So I went through and I found a company, but there were only like 3 education providers at the time. So I
Mhm.
picked what I thought was like the golden standard and I took that class. And, but the funny thing was this, I looked at it and it was a lot of money. And I said to my husband, holy stinking cow, do you know how much this is? And I said, that's nuts. And he said, honey, if you don't believe in yourself enough to invest in yourself, why should your clients?
That's very true.
Well, he slept on the sofa that night. Not really, but it was like, but I thought about it. So I took the class and I'm really glad I did because there were a lot of things that just opened up the door for me, opened up my world, but it was the business portion that really helped from the training. So I have this whole thing that experienced is based on education confidence is based on experience and education. I
Right.
had a lot of experience, but I didn't have that education. So once I put those 2 sides together, my confidence soared and so did my results.
Right. That's something I
Mhm.
think about too. Like if I'm ever nervous or feel like I don't have the confidence, I'm like, I try to dig in and think why. And I feel like it always
Mhm.
comes down to I need to prepare more or educate myself more. So that
Exactly.
makes sense.
It does. It does. So I did the business and I remember I wanted to make $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, things started taking off and it was like, the agents they were like, once they understood, because there was a big
Mm-hmm.
misunderstanding. I wasn't bringing furniture in. When I started, what I did was I provided the expertise to people on what to do to get your house ready.
Okay.
And what I discovered was this.
I love
I,
her technique, Halle. Sorry, Bobbie, I'm cutting you off.
okay,
One of my
that's okay.
things you kind of led into this is she uses what the people have. instead of making them spend money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was a big
Yeah.
thing for me and my clients.
Well, Casey, thank you for pointing that out, because it was that, because I remember what the woman who came into my house was also doing, besides just being kind of ugly with the way that she made recommendations. I felt like I was sitting through a 2-hour pressure sales technique. All she wanted me to do was to hire her to bring a bunch of furniture and stuff in. And we didn't have the money to do that. And I'm kind of practical. I really am practical. I always look at, let's start with, let's not spend anything but time and effort. And then let's see if we do spend any money at all, that it's good money spent, that you'll get a good return. Because there's a saying I say all the time, Casey, you're going to get tired of hearing this, but it's not about making the house look pretty. It's about making it marketable. Right. So what I realized was there was a real disconnect, even within my own industry. A lot of stagers focus on the byproduct, which is pretty, instead of the product, which is a marketable and sellable home. So I took my background and decided I'm not going to be a designer who comes in and tells you how to sell your house. I am a visual marketing expert who will come in and give you very focused recommendations based on your time frame and your budget. And that's really what connected with my agents. And that's why so many agents through the year, I have some I've worked with, 17, 18 years.
Right.
So anyway, I could talk about this. So just cut me off and keep asking questions.
I love it. I love it. It's giving me so much insight. So really it started off more of expertise and I guess like telling them what they can do to make their house more marketable. Right. And then like, did you start collecting furniture and decor pieces and start integrating that?
Okay. So keep in mind, this was 20 years ago. Okay. Yeah. And it was still, it's so funny. Staging's been around for a while, but this is what would happen. My husband would travel quite often with business. And so he would come home and he'd go, honey, where's our sofa? And it is out making us some money. So I started by stripping my house, because at first I had never really thought about bringing in furniture. I thought, I don't have the income to do that. You know, I'm not going to put my family into debt. So I thought I will talk my way to money.
Sleep on the floor, not debt.
Well, yeah. So I started by just using what I had in the house. And it was over time where my husband, instead of a sofa being gone, there'd be another one, but he never knew what color was going to be there, because I was constantly, and I started learning, oh, wait a minute, I could actually probably make some money on this. And if I buy right, and then I had agents asking if I could do that. And even back then, agents basically thought of staging as only bringing in furniture.
Right.
So over time, there's a joke in our industry. It's like, you buy a sofa and 2 chairs and they're like bunnies in the night. Next thing you know, your garage is full. Then the next thing you know, you've got 1 storage unit, 2 storage units. In the end, I had 2 full warehouses full of furniture. And I wasn't even a large vacant stager. So that was like probably a smaller company. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I can start to see where maybe being an occupied stager is, I guess, maybe like easier on your end too.
It's interesting because that easier, I really work hard to let people know it's not that it's easier.
Sorry. Yes. Not that it's easy, but
that's okay. It's,
I guess, less
different.
overhead and stuff.
There's less
people to move furniture, like just maybe more simple processes.
Yeah, it's a streamlined business. It's more relationship centered, whereas the vacants, you never have to meet anybody or talk to anybody. You submit the proposal and you do the work. And it's just it's a different skill set, because this is what I say all the time too, is that if you're getting your house vacant staged, it should look like a magazine. Yeah. It should look like a magazine. Yeah. However, when you're working with the occupied side and you've got the floral sofa and the pink lazy boy chair, it's like when you have that in place, it's like, how do you use that and make it work anyway? It's a different skill set. So I did
imagine there's some challenges there.
So
not exactly easier, but I guess easier in a sense of dealing with overhead, dealing with movers, kind of stuff like
true.
that. Not that
It's
I'm sure
true.
you still have to deal with movers, but
Yeah. So
in an asset stance.
yeah,
But
and
maybe
so
with occupied more, it's harder creatively, and I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
That's really
well,
interesting to think about.
you have more control on the vacant side. So
Yeah.
it's like you if you buy smart and you know how to put things together and where to put them, you can get a strong base business. With the occupied side, not only do you have to know how to make things look good, but you also have to get people to understand why it's in their best interest to move forward.
Right.
Because you guys know, I know my agents. Oh my God, you guys tell me stories. Don't mention the purple walls. Don't. They will not paint. I've told them 12 times. And they just like almost shake. They go, how is it that they're now painting the purple walls? What did you say? And I said, that's one of my superpowers as a stager, is that I am the hired gun. And so all of those things that it's difficult situation for you guys to bring it up, or they say, no, absolutely not. I let them know ahead of time. I'm not doing my job if I don't say everything. But in the end, it's all going to be on your time frame, budget, your decision.
Yeah.
And it's that is important on the occupied side, because people will get in their own way because their house is lovely. They have a beautiful house. One of the houses I did, it was 15,000 square feet. And the homeowner said the agent would like this magazine. And this was way back in like 2007. I've been around a long time. And I looked at it. I was standing in the living room that was the cover of this magazine, which was the Design Awards magazine for that year. And I remember looking at it because I was only in business a short time, and I looked at it, I thought, what am I doing here? I thought, wait a minute. The agent knows what I do. She knows how I do it, and she likes the results. So I'm going to do my job. So I said, thank you for the magazine, and did it. And it was like a 35-page report.
Wow.
Because even though that room was beautiful, the rest is house, even that room had to be edited.
Right.
Because people would be talking about, oh my God, did you see those beautiful 2-foot or 2-story trees in the windows? And did you see that incredible carpet? If they're talking about that stuff, I've not done my job. They need to be talking about the views. They need to be talking about the floors. Casey knows the fixed assets, right?
Mm-hmm. And she's real big on photos. When people take photos, your photographer, if he gets majority ceiling, he should be getting majority floor and down. Yeah. The ceiling is not money.
I'm like, okay, now I need to go look through my listing pictures.
Oh, you're going to go through everything we get out.
Okay. So look at us right now in our squares, right? Each individual square is a 16:9 ratio. Okay. Now MLS is usually that 4:3. So it is taller. Mm-hmm. So the mistake that I see in the photos is that, like, look at your photo. If you just went up a third again and just showed your seat, look at that. There's no money up there. But if you angle it down, and then you're able to see if you have, and this is, Casey just sat through one of my talks the other night, and it's like getting a strong left and right margin, having something that holds that, and then showcasing that open foreground. That's our money. Yep. Because in the end, what are we really selling? I know it's not sexy. Square footage.
Yeah.
So, and when people are like thinking, oh, I can only get about a 1,200 square foot house, and they enter and they start looking at the photos, they're thinking, oh, I wish I could go bigger, until they get to your listing. And when they see your listing and they go, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I love it when I hear this. We had to double check to make sure it was only 1,200 square feet, because it's set up. But more importantly, I hit this all the time, Casey, right? Stop overusing those wide angle lenses. It's not real, and it sets up the wrong expectation. And a perfectly lovely 15x15 room, when we overuse those wide angle lenses, it looks like it's 30x30. They walk in and they go, geez, this house is so small. It's not. And I know I had an agent push back one time, and he goes, well, in the remarks, it says it's 15x15. So they can look there. They'll know what size it is. I said, no. Perception is reality. Plus, nobody knows what 15x15 looks like.
I mean, we do, because we do it all the time, right? On a day-by-day basis, but the average consumer absolutely does not.
Yeah. And Old Dominion University did a study on The rooms that people really look at when they go online and look at the photos, it's the exterior front. I call it the dating site photo. If they don't like that, they're not going to look to find out more. And then you've got your living room or family room, depending on how the floor is set up, what's your floor plan. And then it would be the master suite, the kitchen, of course. And then with COVID, backyard. And so when you look, if you know that generally they had 3 different groups of people who looked at the photos and they did an eye tracker test on them, because I'm all nerd about this stuff. And what they discovered was whether you were actively looking for a house, if you were an HGTV junkie, or if you were a college student that just wanted the $20, you'd look at the price and at least those 5 pictures before you'd move on. So if an agent knows that, the best thing that you can do for your business without doing anything else, it's like you're not doing anything else. You make sure that you get the properly positioned photos and that the room is staged correctly. Mm-hmm. So it's like there may be the additional fee of the, of a consultation to come in, but a good stager knows how to set that room up. And that's one of the questions I tell agents all the time. Look, if you're using the stager, I'm so happy. Ask them this question. Mm-hmm. What are they focusing in on?
The other day about setting things up, and she said, take 1 lemon and put it out of the basket.
Oh, yeah.
So that way, if something else is off in the room, they're going to focus on the lemon and not.
It's like, well, it's.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
There's or something she says.
Yeah. There's perfection and imperfection. So right. When you look now in my area in Raleigh, we have a lot of very stately homes that, years and years and years, and you've got the 2 Staffordshire dogs on the fireplace and the 2 topiaries next to it. And then on the floor, you have the 2 matching urns, everything's just perfectly symmetrical. Studies have shown, again, I get into the neuro research and things. What happens is this, some people love, they find peace in everything being symmetrical, but here's the deal. They walk into a room and let's say the urn in front of the fireplace is moved over. Maybe the cleaning lady moved it over a couple inches. And if you just look, you don't notice, but something doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. And so you're uncomfortable. Also with symmetry, that suggests that things are very rigid and unmoving. And who wants to move into a rigid space? So what I do is I embrace asymmetry and I embrace the imperfection. So that's what Casey's talking about, because we were talking about like how to set up this island. And I said, okay, so here's the bowl. You use your eye you use color to draw your eye where you want it to go. Okay. So think about it. You put on clothes. Let's see, you've got all black and then you put on gold or like blue earrings. Immediately goes right here. Sometimes we'll do our makeup and we do everything very, very fine, but we do extra, just a little something to the eye to draw attention there. It's like color. That's how our brain works. Goes to color first, then seeks detail. So with that lemon, for instance, there's like a refrigerator beyond there, a stainless steel refrigerator, let's say. That's part of the money in the room. I want that. Yeah. I want that yellow to draw attention to that.
Yeah.
And so, and then edit the extra explosion of crayons, which people seem to have in their homes, so that we draw the eye where we want it to go, so that their house presents as strong as possible. It's the little things that'll do it. And understanding the use of color is a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, these are like tips that just even the average person can kind of follow too, which I love. I don't know. You're making it seem very approachable. Well, before it didn't always seem so approachable to me.
Well, here's the deal. I say this: interior designer, stager, and I want to point out I've got the pretty ring on the stager side.
Yes,
okay,
love it.
We use the same tools.
Mm-hmm.
Interior designers cost you money. They're there to be all about you and to make you feel good and all those wonderful things. I refer to interior designers on big jobs like that. Okay,
right.
Stagers, interior designers cost you money. I'm a stager. I make you money. The words I say help you enter the market as strong as possible. And this is the thing I talk to with my agents too. The words that I say are going to back up my agents, mm-hmm. and they're going to support them. And also set you guys, when someone picks an agent, they can pick anybody. But when they're smart enough to pick you, I think it's really important that you be referred to as the true expert over the whole thing.
Right.
It's like, as an agent, you don't do the painting and the yard work and the power washing and all those things. No, but you know how to orchestrate everything. You know the
Right.
timing of everything. That's what people want from you. So if I can take that off your shoulders and let me deal with the smells, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. In such a way that,
Unfortunately.
so that people don't feel judged. That's the biggie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggie. People don't want to feel judged, and they don't want to have to be told that you have to do this. Oh, no. I highly recommend blah, blah, blah. And here are the reasons why.
Right.
It's a simple formula. Things are too complicated anymore. We don't need it to be so complicated.
Yes, agreed. We have enough complication going on.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
Love it. Okay. So, would you mind, diving into some more of your tips? I mean, these are amazing tips so far. I'm loving this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. So I'm going to talk a few tips about photos for a moment. First of all, please, people, I'm looking at my little green dot so you can see me looking at you straight in the eye. Please listen. Just because it's in the house doesn't mean you have to put that photo out there. Okay?
Okay.
There are some rooms that for whatever reason, they just don't get the love and the attention that we need, or there's something funky about the room. Don't put it out there. Just don't. The people will see it when they get to the house.
Right.
Let's instead focus those photos on the strengths and the identity of the rooms in the house. Okay. So that's what's really important. And remember those 5 photos that I said are your number one. Make sure you've got strong photos. Again, it's the front, it's the living room or family room, the kitchen, the master suite, and the backyard. Make sure that those are solid photos, and don't shoot up into the ceiling, and don't do what they call keystone, where it's like you can see, the walls kind of go like this. You don't want that. Make sure you get good, strong photos. You guys could always go to my website too. I've got examples everywhere.
Okay.
But so yeah, you can do that. But a tip as far as staging goes, most of the time people have their fireplace, like let's say it's on this wall. Mm-hmm. And what do? They put the sofa right in front of the fireplace, which makes total sense for living. However, the photographer is going to have to step into the room and shoot from a higher perspective so that it's not all sofa in the picture.
Right.
Okay. So again, we got that 15 by 15 room. When they do that, they've now reduced it because they have to get a decent photo, right? And it's all of a sudden it's much smaller. Yet if you were to swing that sofa around, open up that foreground, and if they're like the kitchen's to the left, have a couple chairs here instead of the love seat.
Okay.
That opens up the space. One of the biggest things you want to do is to have your eye move through the room.
Okay.
Also, if you have hardwood floors, show them off. Get those rugs up.
Okay.
What's important on that is that, again, your eye goes to color first, then seeks detail. Most of the time, those rugs are quite colorful. So your eye goes straight to the rug. What a rug does, the reason we use them in so many, especially a huge room, is to make it feel more cozy, right?
Right.
And so what is cozy?
Small.
Code word? Exactly. Exactly. So when we pull up that rug and we swing over that sofa and we open up that foreground and we get, remember, Casey, the money glow? Mm-hmm. When we can get the sunlight dancing across those hardwood floors and capture that in the photos, that's a money shot.
Love it.
That's one that will make you as an agent look really professional. My house, I can't believe how great my house looks, right? But it highlights the money of that space. And so that's really important. So I'm a big rugs up kind of gal. Okay. Odors will kill a deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kill a deal. So I have 2 tips for you. Okay. First of all y'all can go on to odorsweep.com. That's a company in the Triangle. I want you to go to odorsweep, like sweepwiththebroom.com. Go to there and look at their website. Find a company like that in your market. All right. Okay. They have a process that uses hydrogen peroxide in the air to actually get rid of smells. And I'm telling you, I've got pet smell. I have cooking smell. I have smoking smells. And Casey and I were laughing because I can tell you what part of the triangle I'll have certain smells the most, right? But this company can come in and treats the house and there is no smell afterwards. There's nothing left behind. But if you can't do that, let's say it's a litter box in a bathroom, which people do all the time, there's that smell. I mean, it's difficult to clean everything out, keep that, clean while you're doing the houses on the market. But there's two products I really love. Here's the anatomy of a smell. Sometimes people go, oh my God. Okay, so we're going to pretend that right in front of your desk is a dead cow. I'm from Colorado. That's why I go to cows. Okay, so there's a dead cow.
Didn't see it going that way.
Okay, so now if I were in Colorado, which is like 7% humidity, unless the wind was to blow towards me, I wouldn't smell it. But let it rain, everybody is going to smell that thing for 20 miles. Okay, yeah. So that's what happens in your house. So there's that odor, right? So what we want to do is we want to reduce the humidity in the space, number one. Okay. And then number two is we wanted to use an odor neutralizer. So the Damp Rid is a great product. You guys can find it anywhere, but get the unscented. Damp Rid, R-I-D. Damp Rid actually pulls the moisture from the air. It's a silica gel. Pulls the, it's a stuff when you buy shoes, there's that little packet.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it is. And so, but yeah, they'll pull it and it pulls the moisture out. So, because see with that cow, the reason you can smell it when it rains, the water molecules are flying through the air and there's little pieces of the cow floating around it. And the water molecule comes down, that smell hops on it, goes up and through the air and goes up your nose. So
what a lovely picture.
I know, right? I always say, cover your toothbrush in your bathroom. I'm just here to say. So, but here's the deal. If you understand the anatomy of an odor, you can control it. Another thing, here's another tip is, and these aren't, this isn't staging, but it's presentation.
Right. Yeah.
A good stager should give you this information because problem solution, and they should be money saving. Okay. Right. Even the odorsweep.com, they're not expensive. When you look at price reduction because of odor versus what you get back, trust me, you want those companies. Yes. Let's see. Then back to staging. We talked about, okay. I get into this. Can you tell?
Yes, okay. I love it.
Okay. So light bulbs.
Okay.
Yeah. So Casey, we were just talking about this, right? Okay. There are different kinds of light bulbs out here. This is a 5,000 Kelvin. That's that day white, bright light. Okay. It's 5,000 Kelvin. A lot of times if you happen to have lights and things for your videos, that's 5,000 Kelvin. It's a very, very blue light.
Okay.
Then way over here is like number 2,000, and it's like a Martin Scorsese film. It's like really, really yellow.
Okay.
A lot of those vintage bulbs that you get are automatically this yellow. What I want you to look at is, now photographers love the 5,000 Kelvin. I understand for a lot of reasons, but for home selling, I recommend a Kelvin rating of 2,700 to 3,000. Okay. Out in the industry, they refer to that as soft white. So a lot of times the light bulb pack would say soft white. A lot of the light bulbs have a little switch on it now. So if you look for 3,000 to me is perfection, but 2,700 works too. Okay. And we need to have that same color because when the photographer comes in, I call those 5,000 Kelvin lights morgue lights. It's cold, feels like a lab, right? So, excuse me. So with all of that going on, it's really important. We want to have that warmth. And again, it goes back to the way the brain works. It's when you get to that blue light, it's a disconnect. When you start getting into the warmer colors, it feels there's something within us primally that it's almost like we want to come near the fire, right? So we want to have that color. So I think it photographs better. The light fixture that has those blue lights, you'll notice this now when you walk into a room. I'm just telling you, you're going to see the lampshade has this like gray haze around it, but it's kind of dark in the rest of the room versus a soft white light bulb where you get color through, where you get the light throughout the room. So if you want bright lights, go a higher lumens, get higher lumens. But anyway.
You said 3,000. That's what I got to go.
That's what that's what I'm going to go for.
Good. So, yards, here's a staging tip. Not all stagers do yards. And if they do, they need to understand the plants that are native to your area. Okay. Because what I look at, I'm not there to redo your yard. I'm very rarely, I mean, there's some properties perhaps, but very rarely am I going to go say, redo all of your landscaping. But no. I'm going to give you those savvy tips. Number one is you want to have color near the front door. Okay. Yellow flowers, really, that's your money color, right, Casey? Those yellow flowers, right? So getting the yellow. What's that?
I'm trying to find those yellow pansies.
Oh, geez, I know. I'm looking for you too. So we'll see what we can find. But get color. You always want to have attention when they pull up in front of the house. That the attention needs to go to the front door. So the reason yellow, for whatever reason, that's like a magic color when it comes to flowers. Stay away from dark red, dark purple. Those colors recede. These flowers need to pop, and they need to pay for themselves.
Okay.
They need to earn their keep. Okay.
Yes.
So, and then sometimes the front door does not have to match the shutters.
Okay.
Just know that. Okay. It should be a nice complement to the body of the house colors, but there's that. Also, simple thing, when you put your mulch down, edge, do a little ditch around your beds before you put the mulch in. Even if it's dead dirt on this side and mulch on this side, still do that edge. That's what elevates a house, and it really costs nothing more.
Yeah.
More effort, right? So that's a thing to remember. And if you happen to have a pet, even if you don't have a pet, but you have this stuff in your yard, pick up the little, wipe your paws here and get rid of all of those things. I don't use that term, get rid of. I would say pre-pack those items and for your next house, because we don't want to telegraph that there are pets inside.
Lots of,
Even when people have pets, they don't necessarily want to know that there were pets in this house. So we just want to downplay that. Okay.
Well, yeah. And allergies are so big now for so many people. It's like.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another thing about a company like Odor Sweep.
Mm-hmm.
What they do, it actually sterilizes the house like a laboratory, like a surgical room. So it helps with a lot of that type of stuff.
Okay.
But let's see. I'm trying to think what else. The front yard. Clean. I see this isn't even this. Okay. Staging tips. Look, if I've got a client and they don't have 2 nickels to pull together, I will go into their house and recommend what they pre-pack, which they're going to have to pack anyway, rearrange the furniture, those types of things. But even if they need to paint, if they don't have money for that, I'm always going to recommend clean, and then some more.
Yep.
And we've got to understand that by saying, make sure the house is clean, you've got to be specific.
Right.
Because different people have different idea of what clean is.
Yeah. Or forget too. Like I feel like a lot of people forget the baseboards and the dust on the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I go and show a house and I'm like, ooh.
So, see, I would love to interview you guys, because I'm always looking at, what do you hear when you take buyers in? And like, what are the big things that really it takes so very little, but you just got to know this stuff, like flipping the sofa over, right? It's not that big a deal,
right?
But it's like figuring out how we can come up alongside them and help them know to where to spend their time, money, and effort. That's the important part. Right. Let's see. We got smells. We've got floors. Okay, let's talk paint.
Okay.
I'm going to look you straight in the green dot again, because all y'all, I don't know if it's still the color, but agreeable gray doesn't always work.
Yeah.
So Halle, do you guys do agreeable gray there too? So
it's kind of going out for Dallas. San Angelo, it's still very strong. San Angelo is always a couple years behind Dallas, of course, kind of city versus country.
Sure.
So grays are very popular right now in San Angelo, while tans are coming back in style in Dallas.
Exactly. Well, let's talk paint colors, because I have walked into houses where the agent meaning the best, and meaning the best, and they hear that's the color to go. When the clients say, okay, I'll pay, or I'll paint. And so the agent goes, well, agreeable gray is a great color, unless it's not. I had a home that I went into and they painted before I came in, because I do pick colors. Not all stagers do, but I do pick colors.
Right.
Excuse me.
You're good.
And they had painted agreeable gray, but they kept the wood tone trim and doors in the house. Do you know what happens when you put agreeable gray against honey oak colored wall trim?
Ooh, clash.
It turns purple.
Oh.
I don't know how to mute this. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Oh, you're good. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Do you have the allergies too?
See, it's even talking about agreeable gray. Yeah, gotta tell you, it just chokes me up.
Yes, yeah.
But
Take all the time.
But here's another thing too. When it comes to color, there are trends, and when you select colors, here's the deal. I have homes that they're not going to paint the trim, because it becomes to painting. The most expensive part of painting a house are cabinets. Yeah. Followed by the doors and trim. Right. So my job as a stager, if I have a client who does not want to or cannot invest in all that additional painting, it's my job to find that bridge color that will give the effect of being updated without clashing with the wood.
Right. Yes, please. All the time you need to.
Being able to follow the trends is really is important, but there's got to be that knowledge of color. So another thing that I'm seeing as far as trends go is that there's becoming less and less contrast between the trim and the wall color. So a lot of houses, if you don't work it right, you're going to lose the money of the moldings. Because I'll go into a house and I will have looked at, because I will work with agents on like a stale listing, one that's been on for a while, and it's like, what are we doing? And I'll look at the listing photos and I'll see all this beautiful, beautiful molding painted white, but the walls in the photos look like white.
Right.
And so when I go into the house, I'll see that there's I taste color. So it's like, I know there's a little something to the wall color that you can see when you're there, but in the photos, which drives our business, it's been neutered. It's been neutralized. Right. And so it's like knowing how to select a color that gives just enough contrast to still have that light and bright feel, but plays up the money of the trim. That's what's important to know. So when you're working with someone, it's very important that they're cognizant of that, because if I have agents call me all the time, Bobbie, I got this house. What color? I told them maybe agreeable gray. So stop. What color's the trim? Oh, it's white. And I'll go, but what color white? Some white has yellow undertones. Some of it looks blue. Some of it looks pink. Some of it looks orange. What color white do you have? And it's like understanding that. So it really becomes important to overall see that. Also, here's a nice tip that's easy. Okay. If you have a house that has, and again, I know that this podcast will go all over, so I don't know your particular market, but if you happen to have a market and the white trim is the way to go, or you're starting to do white cabinets in your kitchen, that type of thing, what I'm going to recommend, if you know you're going to paint the trim, match it to your kitchen cabinets, that white in your kitchen cabinets. Okay. Because otherwise, the white in your kitchen might be this beautiful bright white. And if you put a little bit like alabaster is a Sherwin-Williams color, but it's got a little yellow in it, you do that and it makes the trim look dingy and old. Yeah. Or vice versa. What if your cabinets have a little bit of cream to them and you put on, I don't know, pure white onto the trim? Then it makes your brand new cabinets look dingy and old. Yeah. So be looking at that. If your house is chopped up into different rooms and it's not an open floor plan, you have a little more grace. But if you're opening it all up, work with those kitchen cabinets. Work with the cabinets so that you don't lose the money of the cabinets.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Light fixtures. Oh my God, you guys, I could talk about this stuff all the time.
I know, I love it.
So light fixtures. Here's the deal with light fixtures.
Okay.
You know, when you come in an occupied house, the house has been there for a while. So let's say it's 20 years old, and let's say they replaced the light fixtures 10 years ago. Well, boom, those light fixtures have timestamps on them. I'm not saying that you need to replace all the light fixtures in the house, but there are some key ones. The first one is when the door first opens, what's your foyer light? What is it? Okay, look at that. That one needs to be updated. If you have low ceilings, and I'm going to say low is 10 feet or lower, you should be doing a flush mount or semi-flush light fixture.
Yes.
Okay. If it's 2 stories up, we can talk. There's so many awesome selections you can do now. So do something gives a nice little woo-wah, right? Then depending on the floor plan of your house, in our area, we a lot of times will have the dining room or office or the dining room and an office or living room set up right here. Those can be important. The dining room is really important as far as having that updated. It's the strongest read you get. It should work with the foyer lamp in some way, but that right there, that's a money piece. That tells whether this house needs a bunch of updates or, ooh, they've done something to the house. Okay, so there's a difference. Also, when you go into the kitchen is very important. People are always afraid they're going to have to spend money in kitchens and bathrooms. Okay. So when you go into the kitchens, one of the easiest ways to update the kitchen is to change out the light fixtures. And then where the breakfast nook, if you happen to have an eat-in kitchen in your floor plan, look at that fixture. A lot of times people will do chandeliers. The chandelier determines where the table is going to be placed. And so many times they center it to the room, which may not be the best thing to do because there might be a door on this side. There could be cabinets on this side. And really to live there, the table needs to be further into the nook, but it's out of place because the light is hanging down.
Right.
In that case, do either a flush mount or a semi-flush light fixture. Once you do that, you can put the table anywhere you want.
Okay, yes. I've always wondered that because I feel like a lot of builders do kind of place a chandelier light fixture where you're, I guess maybe more on like an open style. You're kind of confined to putting a table right there because that's where the chandelier is. But I like your idea of placing a flush mount if you do want to kind of, maybe switch it up. So
it solves the world. And if you happen to have, look at our boxes here. Let's say the family room is on this side and the kitchen is on this side, and somewhere in here is the table. Okay, there's that floor plan a lot. Well, when you do that, this is what happens. If you're working in the kitchen, you can't watch the Denver Broncos win the Super Bowl. Ooh, did I say that out loud? So because the chandelier's hanging in the way, right? And then plus it just chops up your space. So if you do that semi-flush mount, it changes the world. It makes life so much easier. I was in a parade home a few years back, and I was actually taking some stagers with me, talking to them about, this is what you look at when you're looking at these houses, things to be thinking about. We were talking, and we got into this one room, and, other people are in the house, and this he's walking, and I kind of noticed he's either stalking us or he's listening. So I was thinking, I wonder what that's all about. So I did that very same talk in the kitchen. I said, look, they put the light fixture. It's a beautiful light fixture. I go, but look what's going to happen with the people's furniture. And I said, so those are things to think about. We walked into the family room, and it was all open all the way around. And I was looking, and I said, there's no floor plugs. I said, this is a problem with this house. I said, because when things get to go plugged in, I said, people will trip over that. So you're going to need to be cognizant of that, blah, blah, blah. Next thing, this guy reaches in his back pocket and he takes out a pad, flips it over, and he gets a pen. And I looked at him, I go, what are you doing? By now, I can't help myself. You guys have met me, you know how I am.
Yeah, he's so obvious.
Yeah. And he goes, well, I'm taking a couple notes. I go, really? And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, this is where they should go. And I told him. And I said, so I don't know. And I go, but why are you taking notes? And he goes, I'm the builder. So I said, you need to call me. We should talk. So it's just stuff that we don't think about, right?
Yes.
So if we can all be on the same team and think of that stuff. But lighting is really big. So you've got the entry, the dining room, the kitchen, the master. It's like, it needs to be, I don't care if it's a $200,000 condo. I don't care if it's a $5 million listing. I don't care. The master bedroom needs to have a little extra woo-wah with the light fixture. Okay.
Yeah.
And also their bathroom needs to have an updated, even if you don't update the hall bathroom or the powder room downstairs, the master suite's important to do, because here's the deal. Okay. Like I said, over 9,000 homes, hundreds of agents, and thousands of sellers, right?
Yeah.
They tell me their experience when they're buying. And here's the deal. They will say, we have to have this for the kids. We have to have that for the kids. We have to have this. But if they like the public spaces and they walk into the master suite and they're looking around and then they walk into that master bathroom, I tell agents, because I coach agents as well, I say, when you hear this, leave them alone. Because what they'll say is they'll go, well, honey, what do you think? Even if they don't have the bedrooms, or the bedrooms aren't as big as they said they had to have for the kids, when they hear, what do you think? Let them talk, right?
Okay.
Because the master suite, that's the decision-making room.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's where they go, you know, I could see us later. The kids are eventually going to grow up, move out. So, you know, this could work for us. So those are things to think about too. So spending the money there. Here's another thing. If you update your bathrooms, let's say,
Okay.
in a 20-year-old house, and you don't touch the kitchen, you kind of wasted some of that money.
Yeah.
Because what that does, those updated bathrooms merely highlight how dated the kitchen
Your
is.
kitchen, yeah.
And then it's vice versa, same way.
It'd have been easier just not to have done anything.
Well, here's the deal. You could do updates in all three spaces: light fixtures, paint, maybe paint the cabinets. There are ways to get updates in bathrooms. You can have a company come in and glaze the tile. I've done that in 1960s type homes. I've looked at the little teeny tiny mosaic tile on the floor.
Yes.
And then they've got the tile up around the edge, and there's the old cast iron tub, and they've got, the harvest gold 4x4 squares. It's like I've been in every state, right?
I know. Yes, truly.
Right? Well, here's the
Yeah.
deal. We can get a glazing company come in, and they do that stuff in a beautiful white glaze.
Okay.
It's night and day, because they have to be sound tile, of course. I'm thinking of one particular house that I did, and literally that's what it was. In fact, some of the tiles up around the edge of the bathroom they were like harvest gold, and then white with the harvest gold seashell, harvest gold. So we neutralize that all with the white. People could not get over. And what they love is when people buy homes that are like from the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want a vintage house. That's why they're looking.
Right.
So we're able to update those vintage touches without making the mistake of opening up a wall to replace tile.
Right.
You never know what's back there, right?
Oh,
So-
you never know.
You never know.
Hidden little gremlins in there.
Yeah. And understanding where to place things in a room. It's very important about being able to create identity. Without identity, a room has no value. And what we want to do is we want to be able to have that identity in the photos. Now, I could lose my staging card for this, but I don't care, because I'm here to help agents. I'm going to tell you this. If your client has the money to be able to bring in furniture to stage a property, so that it helps with that identity of what is that room, that's fabulous to do.
Okay.
But sometimes you cannot do the staging within there. So if you have a house that's truly empty, you can still bring someone in to be look at the fixed assets and to give you ideas. And this is where I say I could lose my staging card. But here's the deal. If you can't afford to do that, there's still things that you can do.
Yes.
Even in an empty house. So, and there's a saying, showing off an empty house is like showing off your naked body. It had better be perfect.
Right.
And it's true, because it goes back to that neuro research, right? When people enter a space, if there's nothing there, their eye is looking for something. And inevitably there might be that little rust stain on the carpet from when the carpet was cleaned 4 years ago, right? When all the furniture comes out, it may be a pristine room and the carpet may actually look fabulous, except for that one spot. The buyers walk in. You guys have seen this. I know you have. They walk in and they go, oh, oh my God, look at that stain. We're going to have to replace all the carpet. Right?
Yes.
And that gives them yet another reason to give a lower value. I mentioned I handled settlement negotiations for an insurance company. And one of the things is you're always positioning, right? If you're looking to spend money, you're going to position yourself this way. If you're looking to gather in money, you're going to position yourself this way. So that's what they're doing. They may be falling in love, but they're looking for every opportunity to chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away. So when a house is vacant, all of those little details need to be attended to because that's what's noticed.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but back to the whole identity, when people are sitting there looking at the photos, they are able to get a better idea of the true size of the room, as long as that wide angle lens is not overused.
Right.
They'll get a better idea, a better feeling about how their things will work in the house. Oh my God, you guys, I could talk about this stuff for hours. So what else? Have I missed anything that you guys would want to know about?
Well, I want to know, okay, first off, I want to tell you that you need to write a book if you haven't already.
Oh, okay.
Or like some sort of ebook or something. This is insane.
Oh, well, thank you.
Second off, I want to know, because I know we're coming up on the end of the hour and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but my most important question is, can we work with you if we're, like I'm in Texas, can I work with you? Can we do like FaceTime kind of appointments?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I try to look at things as glass half full all the time, right? And so when COVID happened, opened up my world for me. I had been doing some consulting via Zoom that worked out really well. And then I just converted it more for the sales process. So I have a process in place definitely for doing an online. And so if the house has been on the market for a while and you're looking to redo, I can walk you through your photos using what's in the house and help you come up with solutions. And then if you have not yet gone on the market or whatever, don't do anything. Don't pre-pack anything. Don't paint anything. Don't do any of that. And then I have a process where I'll send me these photos, send me this, and then I'll get that packet. And then we sit down and I walk you room by room through the house.
Yes. Okay.
And then, the good part on that is I also have a follow-up after that so that you do whatever it is you're going to do. And since I'm not there, you're going to do what you think I said. There's a follow-up. I call it a photo prep where we come and one of you holds the iPad or the computer and walks through the house. And I get to get bossy and say, nope, move that over, move this over. And the other person moves things. Right. And then that way you can get the full, but anywhere I've done them in Australia. So
my gosh, how cool!
Here in my little office.
I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Thank goodness for COVID for that.
Brian in Destin right now, 30A, or she's going to be reaching out if she has.
There you go. Yeah. I'm looking forward to talking with her because we actually look to buy a property down in there. So I happen to know that market really, really well.
Okay.
So looking forward to it.
Well, it sounds like you're well traveled too, and you've lived a lot of places. Just from our conversations before we started recording too. Right. So that definitely helps too.
Yeah. So anyway, but this is one thing that I really hope agents hear is that there are solutions out there for you. And I know so many times that you're put in these uncomfortable situations. And so a good stager can help you overcome that.
Yes.
And that's one of those things. And I also work with my agents too. I do the Zoom consulting on people's listing presentations. Yeah. And I'll help them put together a listing presentation, introducing staging. So staging is seen as part of your comprehensive strategic, marketing plan and not a judgment.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I even feel like you would be a good resource for like talking to teams about this, especially with everything that's going on with National Association of Realtors. There's talk of buyer's agents not being a thing anymore. People are going to, regardless, listings are always going to be very important, or being a listing agent. And this is one of great tactics. So
Bobbie, you said something to me the other day real quick about how it's important to preface you at the beginning before the listing. That way, after we get it, we're not hurting their feelings so bad.
Exactly. So it's like, when do I recommend you let your client know that you utilize staging as part of that comprehensive strategic marketing plan. And the thing is, you do it before you even know they exist. And people say, how do you do that? Talk about staging and use that term, comprehensive marketing plan, like a strategic marketing plan, because you want to sound different than everybody else in your market. And so what happens is if everybody sounds the same, talks the same, does it the same, why should they pick you? So start differentiating yourself. And then what you do is say, as part of my strategic marketing plan, I'll have you meet with my stager to da, 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 however it is that you want. I mean, I help people put together that information too, but introduce it then. So even if the client doesn't go to the website and somebody refers you in, they're going to check you out after they talk to you. So when they go into the website, okay, so there's that. And then also when you're talking to them and say, oh yeah, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Yeah, I'll come in for the listing presentation. And during that time, I'm going to talk to you about how I utilize an inspector, an appraiser, my stager, and a cleaning company, whatever it is that you happen to do.
Team,
you just mention it. Don't get into it. Just mention it. And then when you're actually there, because here's the deal. People go in and it's like knock, 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 you come in and, would you like to see the house? That's the first thing they ask you when you come for the listing presentation. So if you've not mentioned staging at all, and now you've had a tour throughout the whole house and they were busy all day getting ready for you. And then you sit down and then you do your listing presentation and they say, yeah, we want to go with you. And then you say, okay, first thing we need is to get the stager in here. They're going to go, I thought you said you liked our house. If you introduce it ahead of time, it's not a judgment.
Right.
Again, so it's vital that you do that. So when you're doing the listing presentation, you can talk to them, here's the CMA, here's the information. And as you're walking through your listing presentation, you can do it in such a way that you can showcase your listings, how your listings photograph and how they're out into the marketplace compared to the others.
Right.
And when people push back and they say, no, I don't want this teacher to come in, say, well, you're hiring me for my results. And my results are based on the fact that I use this as part of my strategic marketing plan for your house.
Absolutely.
So
and I feel like you can kind of make that point too. Like you said, yes, your house is beautiful. It's pretty, but we need to focus on the marketability. And that's not always the same as just if how you have your house when it's not on the market.
Exactly.
So I feel like you could kind of phrase it that way too.
It's perfect. Say, okay, so now I can tell this is a lovely home and I can tell you guys have, had some wonderful life here or whatever, because people will tell you all kinds of stories, how they go. And then, you can say, so now this is where, you're having me come in and it's my job to make your house as marketable and to enter the market as strong as possible from day one. Right. And part of that is instead of focusing in on you and your family and the lives that you've built here, it's now to start looking at the fixed assets. And when you start speaking those marketing terms, instead of those feel-good terms, when you start speaking marketing, people hear you differently and you're not going to sound like everybody else because they're all worried about offending the client rather than serving the client.
Right.
And when you approach it from the deal that here's the deal. I'm going to bring this person in and they're going to talk to you about the fixed assets of the house. They're going to take into consideration your time frame and budget. And if you're living in the house, they always start with what you already have here. So don't worry about that.
Yes.
Yes.
So
I love it. I love it. You seriously need a book, Bobbie. I mean,
thank you.
I feel like we could go on for like 4 hours.
Well, I know because I talk 4 hours all the time because I teach a CE class for 4 hours. I think we're the only state.
Okay.
I think we're the only. In fact, if you're out of the state of North Carolina, well, you can go to my, which one is it? You can go to successfulstaging.com, go to the agents portion, scroll down, and there's a wait list for the CE class. And I've actually taught the CE class to folks from Montana, California,
I'm like,
different places.
I just want to listen to the class. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, because I can do that from time to time. So, if I get enough interest, I can do a class and I can do an online like that. So, but, if you can get, anyway, we could talk about that. Call me, love you, mean it. So just let me know and I'll figure it out.
Yes.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So if people want to connect with you, they can go to successfulstaging.com and find your information. Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
They
Love
can
it.
always email me at Bobbie@Successful Staging too.
Okay. Perfect.
So that's all good. So
Oh my
anyway.
gosh, we might need to have you on for a follow-up episode because I feel like I have so many more questions. This is
How about we do that after I sell Dresden?
yes.
That would be awesome. So you mean next week?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, right.
See there. That's
This is what you sell this weekend.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. So it's
Love
all
it.
good. But it was
All the
such
good
a pleasure,
vibes on
ladies.
our way, so.
Thank you
Awesome.
for having me on. It was
Yes,
fun.
no, we
I
appreciate
really
it so
appreciate
much.
like
I
your
think this is
knowledge.
going to go down as one of my favorite episodes too. This has been
Thank you,
amazing.
Halle. Casey, thank you so much. You've just been a shot in the arm. You're just the folks here in this market, they need to know they've got a really great agent in you. So thank you so much for
I
being.
actually want to set up a time and chat with you and see if I can't get a set up a link on my link. It's not Linktree anymore, but it's on my bio where
Okay.
people go to you for like a
Oh.
sticker, and we can
Yeah.
partner in that manner.
Okay,
So,
you got it. Call me. You got my number.
Love it.
So, okay.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right, ladies.
thank
our
you.
audience, please reminder to give us all a follow on social media. Please go connect with Bobbie on her website, successfulstaging.com. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to give us a subscribe and click the bell to, stay in touch with us. And we will be on next week. And yes, everybody have a good week. And thank you again to Bobbie McGrath.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.